happiness and gratitude to the Universal House of Justice having been invited to this outstanding conference. And as the House of Justice has mentioned, that this is a conference which is a very historic occasion. It's on a historic moment that this conference is taking place. And as you learned yesterday, it's in the midpoint of the 5-year plan, but it's not only in the midpoint of the 5-year plan, it's also in the midpoint of this series of conferences from 1996 to 2021, the centenary of the passing of Abdul Baha, that the House of Justice has said that the goal will be, in this span of time, to advance the process towards entry by troops, and even already in this time, there will be, in some regions, already entry by troops coming about. Abdul Baha said, "Let your ambition be the achievement on earth of a heavenly civilization." And you know, this is exactly in what we are engaged and in all our activities. And when we are talking about numbers and figures, we always have to be aware in what we are engaged. It's a spiritual advancement, a spiritual change of culture in which we are engaged. I'm sure that all your spiritual batteries are recharged now from yesterday, because we had such a wonderful day. It was such a full day with inspiring talks of our beloved members of the International Teaching Center, wonderful stories, wonderful presentations of the National Spiritual Assemblies. And I don't know if you had a thorough look on the structure of the program of all these conferences. You know, the Universal House of Justice has devised the program for this conference. And I don't know if you had a thorough look on it. I looked a little bit on it and I thought, well, this is really how it is structured. It's really the absolute best guidance. Well, everything is always the best what the House of Justice brings to our attention, that's naturally. But if we look a little bit thoroughly, we can see how we move on step by step. So in the very beginning, there was an inspiring presentation of Mr. Berkland about the overall concept in what we are engaged. Then we had the presentations of the National Spiritual Assemblies. Where are we? What have we learned? What is the situation, the actual situation in what we are? And then in the afternoon, we had these 3 topics. And it was, for sure, there is a reason behind it, how it was structured. At the beginning, there was the topic, the Institute as the engine of growth. So we know the Institute is the first activity which is needed to be taken up, in order to raise up the number of friends who will become engaged in teaching the faith and in teaching the faith more directly. The next topic was a healthy pattern of growth. So how we start to move clusters forward from a weak cluster to a more vibrant cluster, and then finally to be able to launch an intensive program of growth. And this was the third topic. How are the intensive programs of growth moving forward? What are the requirements for an intensive program of growth? And in this it was as well clearly mentioned yesterday that we need to take a more direct approach in teaching the faith than ever before. Before, long ago, we had a lot of proclamation activities, and when we talked to our friends or neighbors or to whom we encounter, we mentioned the wonderful social aspects and humanitarian aspects, and everyone was happy about it. And we had a large group of people who were very positive about the Baha'i faith, but they didn't think that they should enter in this enterprise and should become part of this enterprise. Now we learned that we need to take a much more direct approach. And that the people as well, we learned that the situation has changed dramatically. The world situation has changed dramatically in the last 10, 12 years, and particularly in the last 1 year. We realized that the major plan of God, the decline of the society, the decline of the old order, is just going down with ever higher speed, and so we have to be on our heat, that we don't miss our opportunity and our responsibility, and to raise up many new believers, and to talk much more directly about the faith to the believers. I'm sure there is no doubt that this conference will bring about an upsurge of activities, because each one of you has gained such a bunch of profound insight during this conference already. And when you will go in the workshops afterwards, I'm sure that you will be ready to pledge for any kind of activity which is needed to advance the process of entry by troops. Today is the time. Yesterday we had the time to celebrate, and we celebrated in a wonderful way. In the evening we had such a wonderful artistic program with this variety, which we can see that Europe is really a very diverse continent, and particularly in this Central European part. But today is the time to deliberate on the current exigencies of the region. And in the message of the Supreme Body addressed to this conference, we are reminded to the message of to Europe at the beginning of this, I would say, this cycle from 1996 to 2021, which was specifically to this European continent. As you remember, all continents received a special message in addition to the Wisman message to the Baha'is of the world. And we were reminded about the importance of this continent. And it is anticipated that this process of entry by troops can advance in each region of Europe. And I can say that yesterday, each one of us, we realized that this is already on its way. So the proof is already given that this is a fact. As I just mentioned, the people around us are becoming more and more disillusioned in the course of a lamentable condition of the present order. And they are looking for a new model to bring about a life of peace and happiness in freedom. And this is all about in what we are engaged in. We know that Baha'u'llah brought this message to the world. And even when the Bab brought his mission, and he already announced that the promised one is about to come, this new order started to be implemented. Abdu'l-Baha summoned the believers: today there is no greater glory of man than that of service in the cause of the most great peace. And he expresses unmistakably, man can withstand anything except that which is divinely intended and indicated for the age and its requirements. So peace will come about. The teachings of Baha'u'llah will spread worldwide. There will come about this one common faith for all the people of the world. We are just engaged in this, to work on this, and we are privileged that we can work in this. And I think this brings so much happiness to our hearts. It's on one side we can say it's an obligation, but I think it's much more a privilege which we have. Because it's not just an accident, as we